Here we're changing the oil on our Sea Doo GTX 215. This is a 2008 model. And what you start with, take off the oil fill cap and then also the dipstick. And then we've got a pump hooked up to it. So you need the siphon pump to get there. We ran the engine for a while to get it warm and the oil warm, and then started sucking it out. You can see here that it's filled up this siphon tank. Here's 1.7 liters. So we're probably just around 2 liters. In the back of the Seadoo, on the back of the engine, there's the oil filter. So it's got a cap, and then on top of the cap there's also a bolt that goes straight through the center there. So I pulled that off. This has got a pretty tight fit with these two seals, and then we're going to replace the filter there and just have a rag ready, and then we'll be able to put that back in and then fill it back up with oil. So here we go. We've got the box, that's the part number there, and then got an oil filter, and that's the old one. I'm just going to compare the numbers on the top, and they look the same. So I'm just going to put it back in the Seadoo. Down in the bottom there, you want to inspect it first just to make sure there's no metal shavings or anything, so it looks good. So I'm just going to place the filter in there now. Make sure it seats properly. So that's looking good. It's pretty even around the outside there. And then next I'm going to put the cap back on. So next thing to do is replace the O-ring on the oil filter cap. So I'm going to replace the lower O-ring. I just popped it off with a screwdriver, and then here's the new one. There's the part number. So then I'm just going to feed it on, and I compared to make sure that they're the same size. Probably going to put a little bit of oil on it just so that it's lubricated and creates a good seal, and it also slips on better. So I found that you don't even need to use a Torx head. As long as your socket works well enough, that's okay. And it also helps to remove the coolant reservoir. So it just pops back in place once that's all tightened up. So that's good. And the oil filter cap is tightened now. So now that the filter cap is all back together, what we're doing is another suction here. So you take out the dipstick, and then you also undo the filler cap, and then you want to do it 3 times where you suction it out, so that'll cycle the oil through the engine, and then you can pull more oil out. In order to cycle it, what you want to do up here, you want to hold the throttle all the way and then hold on this start, and that'll run the engine without starting it. And that's exactly what you want to do. So you do that 2 or 3 times. In your siphon tank here, there's lines at 1.7 and 3.4, and this is the halfway mark. We're just a little bit above that, so it should be about 3 liters, and which is perfect because the engine holds about 4.5 liters, but you're only usually able to get about 3 liters out of it. So since we're at 3 liters there, next part, we're just going to unscrew the oil cap and then take it off, and then stick a funnel in, and then we've got our oil here. We went with the actual BRP brand, but some say you can use the other stuff. But this is what is recommended by the dealer, and this is what they use, so that's what we're going to put in. Okay, so now we finished filling it up there, and then in the dipstick, you can check, and there's definitely oil on the dipstick, but it's actually quite high on it. So what I'm going to do, same thing as I was doing for emptying, I'm going to hold on to the throttle and start it, but it won't start the engine because I'm full throttle. So now what I'm going to do, check the dipstick again, because that will have cycled the oil through the filter and the rest of the engine. So I'm going to just have to wipe this off. So then I just reinstall the dipstick to check the oil level. So the ideal position is halfway in between these two notches on the side, but it's actually somewhere around here. So I'm going to cycle the engine again. So we ended up checking the oil level once more, and it's looking sort of low, but you really want to test the oil when the engine's hot. So we know that there's enough in because we took approximately 3 liters out. Since we took 3 liters out, we put about 3 liters in. So I'm feeling good about that, and just to be safe, I'll take it out on the water, knowing that I have about the right amount of oil, and then after that I'll just check the oil level on the dipstick, and it should be about right. So now this is all done, remember to tighten this cap, put the dipstick back in, make sure your oil filter cap is tight, and then put in the back tray, and then reinstall the 2 seats, and you should be good to go.